I remember the exact moment I realized everything had changed. My wife's phone lay face down on the kitchen counter, and the vibration from an incoming message made my chest tighten like a vice. I didn't touch it, but I couldn't stop staring. Her laughter echoed from the living room, the kind of laughter that used to belong to both of us, now shared with someone else. Or so I feared. I tried to tell myself it was nothing, a friend, a co-worker, a harmless joke. But the pit in my stomach refused to be ignored. The last few months have been a fog of missed dinners, half-hearted conversations, and her sudden late nights at work. I had blamed myself first. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. Maybe I had grown complacent. But now, that thought felt poisonous. That night, I stayed awake, listening to the soft hum of our apartment, trying to decipher the invisible lines that had begun dividing us. She came to bed hours later, humming under her breath, and I pretended to be asleep. When I heard her phone unlock, I felt like a traitor even for lying in silence, pretending not to hear. The next day, I confronted her, not with accusations, but with questions. My voice shook, a mixture of fear and desperation. "Have you been seeing someone else?" She froze, a flash of guilt, or was it shock, crossing her face. Then she looked away, tears threatening to spill. I don't know how to tell you," she whispered. And in that pause, my heart broke. The revelation came slowly. It wasn't a full-blown affair, not in the cinematic sense. But it was enough. Emotional messages, secret calls, a closeness I hadn't been a part of. She was looking for someone who listened, who remembered the little details about her day, who made her laugh when I had stopped trying. The betrayal wasn't physical, but the way she had retreated into someone else's understanding while I was oblivious was just as painful. For days, we drifted in silence. Every shared space felt like a minefield. I wanted to scream, to throw things, to punish her for the loneliness she had allowed between us. But I didn't. Instead, I watched her, noting the small things, the nervous way she avoided my gaze, the way she still reached for my hand at night, but flinched when I pulled too close. I realized that anger alone wouldn't rebuild anything. I needed to understand, not just accuse. And in my quiet moments of reflection, I realized that I had played a role in this distance. I had stopped noticing her, stopped asking questions, stopped listening. The emotional betrayal cut both ways. We began to talk, not the shallow "how was your day" type, but real conversations. I asked her about the moments she felt unheard, the times she wished I had noticed her, the little gestures that could have made her feel loved. She spoke carefully at first, words measured, as if testing if I would break. I listened, without interrupting, without judging. The process was slow, painfully slow, but it was real. One night, after weeks of these confessions, she came to me while I was reading on the couch. Her voice was quiet, vulnerable. "I want us to try," she said. And for the first time since everything started falling apart, I believed her. But it wasn't about trust being handed back like a trophy. It had to be rebuilt brick by brick. We created new rules, not about policing each other, but about opening doors we had left closed. Phones weren't the enemy. Secrecy was. Lying was the poison. Honesty, even when it hurt, became our lifeline. We started leaving notes for each other in unexpected places, small reminders that we still cared. Sometimes, she'd leave a cup of coffee ready for me in the morning, and I'd make her favorite tea without being asked. These gestures weren't dramatic, but they were real and they mattered. I learned to ask when something bothered me, and she learned to answer without fear of judgment. Arguments didn't disappear, but they became conversations instead of wars. When I felt a pang of jealousy, I spoke it aloud. When she felt lonely, she said it. And slowly, the tension that had once filled our home with shadows turned into mutual respect. A quiet acknowledgement that we were both flawed, both vulnerable, and both willing to try again. The night we truly healed, it wasn't marked by a grand declaration. We were sitting on the balcony, wrapped in blankets, watching the city lights flicker. She leaned her head on my shoulder, and I could feel the trust we had rebuilt in the simple pressure of her head. "I'm sorry," she murmured. I kissed her hair and whispered, "I'm sorry, too." No dramatics, no long speeches. Just the weight of everything we had survived held silently between us. I realized that emotional betrayal doesn't always leave visible scars. Sometimes it hides in small absences, in words unsaid, in hands not held. Healing doesn't come from punishment or revenge. It comes from recognition, vulnerability, and the willingness to face discomfort together. Now, our relationship isn't perfect. We still have moments of doubt, moments when old insecurities flicker like shadows. But we face them. We talk. We listen. And each day, the trust grows, not as a fragile glass ready to shatter, but as a bridge strong enough to carry both of us across. I learned that night that mutual respect isn't given. It's earned in silence, in honesty, in choosing each other even when it's hard. Betrayal once shattered the foundation of our life together. But open communication rebuilt it, stronger and more real than it ever was. And when I see her smile at me now, the kind of smile that reaches her eyes, I feel something I didn't before, a quiet gratitude that we survived not because we avoided pain, but because we confronted it together